we're just going to go over today. We're going to spend the next few weeks kind of going over all of this packet, but we'll go over it in little sections, and then we'll have activities as we go. But you'll make sure that you're getting don't forget about your interview, make sure that you're getting that scheduled and getting that done. We're going to go over just the first, the first three things in here. And then that's it for today. Oh, first 4 slides. We'll be done for today. Then we have an activity. Okay, so we're going to just look at qualities of a good healthcare worker. For you guys, what do you think when you go to the doctor or you go to the hospital, what are some qualities you expect the healthcare personnel to have?
Not rude.
Not rude?
Yeah.
They should have good customer service, yeah.
Helpful with anything.
Helpful, right? They want to help.
Yeah.
What else?
Quick.
Fast.
Yeah.
Work fast and get done what they need to get done.
A clean, like, workplace.
Okay, you definitely want them to be clean. Hopefully you watch, make sure they wash their hands.
If I hurry up and do people, if I take their time.
Do what?
What's that? Take their time.
Seemingly. You don't always know what they're doing, you know. Sometimes things just take a long time. What else? Sam, you usually have an opinion. If you go to the doctor's office, what do you want the healthcare personnel to be like?
Well, whenever I ask for a TV remote, I prefer to get one instead of having to wait 30 minutes before they bring it.
Okay.
Maybe a smile.
Yeah.
Smile. Yep. You want them to be kind, right? You don't feel good. So if you don't feel good, you're already on edge. And so if you have somebody who's rude or not very kind.
When you go like the Sal's Spinal Emergency, then you have to wait like an hour before you get some food.
Okay.
That was
Over there. Well, Commerce has lots of providers. There's lots of doctors and PAs in there versus Solace, which doesn't have a whole lot of. Usually only have 1 or 2, and that's a busy clinic. So.
Like you can be in there dying. They'll be in there like an hour.
And you guys will learn too. You go into healthcare. There's a lot more, even like the TV remote. If the patient next door needs their medication is going to be a priority over a TV remote, So there's always two perspectives to that for sure. But I agree, you see somebody sitting down at the nurse's station just hanging out, talking, and you ask for something like that, then absolutely, done what they need to get done. Well, we'll talk about several. Did y'all read the article yesterday?
I skimmed over it and then I started working on that bookwork.
So you didn't read it. Let's look at it real quick. So a few things that listed kind of on here: nurturing and a stable disposition. Okay, that's just kind of what most of you guys said. Ability to manage stress, right? We want them to be able to handle conflict. We want them to be able to handle if things get crazy. They know what to do and how to manage that. It says it's no secret that healthcare professionals suffer a high rate of burnout. What is burnout, do you think? Yeah, it's just you kind of done the same thing a long period of time, and you just kind of get it just becomes a routine. You get tired. You don't like it anymore. Makes you not do your job as well. When you're burned out, you just don't care as much. And so that's a big thing in healthcare, especially because the schedule's always going. People come in with the same problems with seemingly all the time. People are non-compliant. That means they're not doing their treatment, or they're not taking their medicine the way they're supposed to, or they're not exercising, or whatever it is. Won't change their diet. All that kind of stuff, runs into your burnout. And so knowing how to say no to unreasonable work demands and recognizing your own strengths and weaknesses and discussing those is good way to help prevent burnout. Service orientation, like you said, you want them to be rude, you want them to do what they need to do. And, healthcare is a business. It's customer service is just as important in healthcare as it is in anything else. Like people want, if you're patient, you say customer service, but your patient, you think of them as your customer. It makes a big difference. And Medicare, government's really looking at making, it's kind of like they're doing the same thing with teaching, making the pay per, like to the hospital or facility or whatever, really dependent on patient feedback. And if patients have to go back to the hospital, then a hospital gets dinged for that. So let's say a hospital sends somebody home, and the patient's back in the emergency room within 24 hours, and that does not look good on the hospital's record. And so a few things that they're looking at is just maybe depleting some of their pay if they have a lot of repeat people and things like that. So, which is, it's got some good things about it, but it's just like this whole testing thing at school. One single test, they're wanting it to determine how a teacher gets paid and how a school gets paid from the state. And that's not really fair. All kids are different. Different schools, have different issues.
I read something on Twitter the other day, and it was about how us students go and take a test, and it's supposed to tell us how smart we are, but then it was something like that what you were saying.
Yeah, everybody learns differently, everybody tests differently. You can have some of the brightest kids and be horrible test takers, and that's all that test, measures. And so, but the same way, for a school to be rated strictly on only testing scores is not really a fair thing to. So it's the same way with healthcare. Flexibility, definitely something that is really important in healthcare. I know I'm all about flexibility because things change constantly. Rules change, policies change. People don't do what they're supposed to do, and work, everything. So you always have to be ready for that. It's one of the biggest things that was in here. And then it talks about technology. So I don't know, I like this article. I think it's a good one to talk about different things that are important in that. Okay, well today we're going to look at leadership and teamwork, two things that are really important. Teamwork, healthcare is all about teamwork. You're always working with people. You're working in teams. That's one of the reasons we do so many group projects in this class, is because that's what the real world looks like, okay? In the real world, you don't take a test every week. You have projects that are due. You work with another person to get something accomplished. You're in charge of a presentation. You're in charge of educating other people on whatever the job is. That's what real world looks like. You work as a team. Like working at Children's in the emergency room, I worked with the pharmacist, right? They came and ordered my medicine, and if there was something special going on with the medicine, they'd let me know that. I'd work with the physicians. They're the ones who wrote the orders. I had to make sure I could read and I understood what they were wanting to do. I worked with the respiratory therapist. It was a team effort. Everything we did, everything I did, other people were dependent on. I was dependent on what they did. So teamwork is really important. And that's one of the main reasons we do so much group work in here. And that's every job. Same with teaching. I get with the other science teachers and we'll figure out what we're doing. I have go to conferences for health science education and work team-wise with that. It's just a constant teamwork in everything that we do. There's not very many jobs you don't. Even like a radiologist seemingly could work all by themselves, which probably could. They just look at a computer screen, diagnose things, look at the x-ray, look at the MRI, diagnose something and go on. But somebody had to take the x-ray and do that correctly. Somebody had to do the billing so that the radiologist could get paid. It's all teamwork. Okay, leadership, it says, I had myself in that. Leadership can be defined as deliberately causing people-driven actions in a planned fashion for the purpose of accomplishing the leader's agenda. So what does that mean? Yeah, a leader is able to get people to do what they need them to do. Okay, and not necessarily in a dominating way or a domineering way, but they're, you know those people who kind of have this like natural charisma to just, for people to follow them. People like that. My husband's a lot like that. It's people are just like, whatever, he just kind of has that natural knack. And there's people who come by that naturally and people who have to kind of work at it. But it's deliberately causing people-driven actions. I like that. Another definition says a skill or ability to encourage people to work together and to do their best to achieve a common goal. So lead people in that. So what are some effective leadership qualities do you think? What is something you look for in a leader? Motivating. Good.
Similar goals.
Okay, similar goals, right? If they're going to lead a group, everybody kind of has to have the same goal in mind, hopefully.
Like, they need to tell you what to do, but not be.
Okay, so they need to be assertive. I think that's probably the word you're looking for. They need to be able to say what they want, say what they expect, but not be demanding or, what else? Anything else? Trustworthy. Good. Definitely want them to be trustworthy. They be honest. Honest. You want them to lead you to the place where you're supposed to be led, right? Okay, so types of leadership behaviors. Grab that other little PowerPoint I gave you, the really little short one. Got some of these listed on here. Okay, here's some leadership behaviors. And I think you'll see some of these maybe in yourself. And think about when you've worked in groups before. So the first one is an initiator. This is the person who kind of gets things started. Okay, so you all get in a group and everybody's just kind of talking about what they ate for dinner last night or whatever. This person is the one who's like, okay, guys, we need to get started. Why don't we let somebody read the instructions? Okay, so that's an initiator. And I'm not saying one leader is going to be all of these things, but some people kind of have these, you'll notice, have these behaviors. And we all have some of these. The interpreter, this is the person who clarifies or explains other people's ideas. So if somebody says something, you're me, I'm the person who has the idea, and I don't necessarily articulate it very well, so I spout out this idea, but nobody really knows what I'm talking about. The interpreter would be the person who's like, okay, well, let me explain, or let's read the instructions. They're going to be that kind of explainer. The analyzer, this is the one giving critical analysis of the idea. So this could be a good thing or a bad thing. It probably has a mixture of both. This is the person who's going to be like, okay, well, if we do that, then this and this and this and this is going to happen. Or if we do that, then, these are all the possibilities from there. Or if you really think about that, it's not going to work because blah, blah, blah. Okay. So it can be a good analyzer and a bad analyzer. A lot of times there's a mix there. The harmonizer, this is the person who tries to reduce tension. So if you've worked in a group or been with a group of people, this is the person who's like, okay, everybody, maybe we can make this work, I know you're mad, but let's see if, can we not be mad anymore? Can we come together and make this work? The harmonizer. Trying to make everything okay. The encourager, this is the person who has a good attitude towards people, so they really encourage people's ideas. Oh, that was a great idea. Yeah, let's look at that. Or so-and-so had this idea. Let's do this. Okay, a blocker. Some of these, not all of these last ones are the negative ones, but blocker is. So this is a person, somebody comes up with an idea and they're like, oh, no, that won't work. That won't work. That won't work. You know those people. They do fancy stuff. Domineering, this person who tries to manipulate the group or overpower the group, kind of get the group to do only their idea. They're trying to steer the idea and only do that. Okay, the clown. You've probably all known of the clown. Okay, so this is a person who always wants to have a good time. They just make jokes. They won't ever get serious about the assignment. Probably get to the end of the assignment or the end of the group work or project, and they've probably done very little, because they've just done a lot of talking and not a lot of doing. Assertive. So this assertive is usually a good thing, I would say. So this is a person who keeps everybody on task. They kind of, okay, guys, let's get back, let's work on this. Or maybe they assign the tasks. You do this, you do this. Assertive is they get their point across say what they're expecting, but they don't dominate and, yell at everybody. And then aggressive, this is a person who's like, you're an idiot. That's a horrible idea.
It's me.
So,
I'm a positive aggressor though. I get around when I say it.
you're a passive aggressor is what you mean.
Yeah.
Passive aggression is where you kind of like make a jab, but you're trying to act like you're joking kind of thing.
I'm like, I really am joking.
That's what makes it passive aggressive. Okay, is that you're only joking half the time. Like, those people who like say something, they're joking if it offends you, but they're not joking if it doesn't offend you. Hey, we're all going to do that. All right. Okay, teamwork. So working with professionals with different levels of education, ideas, background, interests for the benefit of the patient. So specifically in healthcare, there's all the different types of care that come in together to take care of the patient. So what are some different people who are usually involved in patient care? We're talking about the hospital. Nurses. Sometimes can be multiple nurses. Do what? Who else? What other people involved? Maybe doctors, people at the front desk who do the billing, right? Or just do the service part of it.
What about the pharmacy people?
Pharmacists, they're the ones who get the medicines ready. Any therapy, so occupational therapy, physical therapy, anybody in that that's involved in care. Social workers usually involved.
Oh, yeah.
So lots of different areas. And so teamwork is really important because if you don't communicate, you don't work together, then they're not going to be benefited. Everyone must know their role and the roles of the others. So including like legal boundaries. You need to know, if I'm the nurse, I need to know what the nurse aide can and cannot do. I don't want to ask them something that's out of their scope of practice. Okay, so remember that word, scope of practice?
It's something they're not trying to do.
Yeah. Okay, good interpersonal relationships. That's important in teamwork, that everybody can get along. You're not always going to agree with everybody in a team. You know that. I mean, everybody, otherwise we wouldn't know. So we're not. Okay, and then conflict. So within teamwork, you're always going to have conflict, but it's so important to learn how to deal with it in a way that is constructive and not a way that tears people down or doesn't benefit the patient or whoever else is involved. So learn to deal with it in a positive way. Be quick to admit when you're wrong. Just shift blame on everybody else. Take responsibility, take ownership. Listen to others, right? Listening is a big part of teamwork. If your team ends up only doing what you want to do all the time, you probably are the domineering one. They only do that. Cooperate to form a solution. Now, sometimes the leader, if a decision can't be made as a group, sometimes the leader, that's going to be part of being a leader. Is you have to make the decision yourself, regardless of what everybody else thinks. But if you're the only one who thinks that way and everybody else is against you, probably need to reconsider and look. How can you deal with conflict in a positive way? And this is for you guys. If you have conflict with your friends, within a group, whatever, how can you deal with it in a positive way?
You can just ignore the facts sometimes that maybe they're just upset about something that happened. Just
When you say that most of the time when somebody thinks you're upset with them, it's actually because you're upset about something else. That's a good point. And I think texting has killed our communication, especially conflicts. I feel like texting causes conflicts, even when it shouldn't, because you don't really know. So much of our communication, most of our communication is by body language, either facial expressions, our tone of our voice, okay, versus the actual words, right?
No, I didn't mean it like that.
Exactly. And so you have to be, texting, I think, has kind of ruined some of that for us. We don't always know.
Said emojis help.
Okay, so it says you'll be working with teams in whatever job you choose to. Sometimes emojis help, not always. Sometimes they really confuse me. Anyway, So you'll be working in teams with whatever job you choose to do someday. I don't care what you're going into, healthcare or not healthcare. Most of the stuff in this chapter is going to apply to just about anything. Know your own strengths and weaknesses. That really helps in conflict resolution. Okay, because if you know, okay, I'm not very good at whatever, I'm not very good at listening. If you already know you're like that, and you get in a conflict with someone, and they're like, "You're not listening to me." You know, if you already know you're not very good at that, reconsider. Okay, well, let me listen now, or whatever. You know, and you have an idea that you're already not good at that. It's something to work on. It says you'll be expected to work with people from all backgrounds, all education. It's so important that you know what's expected and what's expected of others. You know what other people are expected to do, and so forth. And that's it for today. Okay, wait, actually, let's, I want to go over this project, this activity that we are about to do. Okay, I'm going to give you guys these group instructions. Okay, it says utilizing only the provided supplies, which you have a desk full of provided supplies over there. You are going to create a futuristic ambulance.
Ambulance, like an ambulance lady.
Futuristic
Oh,
ambulance.
goodness.
Okay, I want you guys to work together as a group, and you have to use at least part of everything that's over there. So you don't have to use like all 5 popsicle or tongue depressors, but you would have to use at least one of them. Okay. And then we'll do this for, let's just do this till the end of class. You two that needs to still do your, no, I'm doing, you're done.
It's just me.
Just you?
And Riley.
Oh, and Riley. Anyway, so that's what you guys are going to do. There's going to be one of you, Erin and Liam, I'm going to have you do this, who is going to document what's going on. Okay?
Okay, this is gonna be all good.
Thanks,
They can take these off. Which one?